Welcome back, design students. In this video, we're going to create the mesh that will represent the liquid inside our bottle. And we're going to use the basic same process that we used when we created the liquid mesh for the wine glass that we just did. So let's get started. Let me switch to shaded mode. And I'm going to hide the stopper. Incidentally, the shortcut for hiding the selected object is Control-H. Then I'm going to select the bottle mesh. And I'm going to hide this ground mesh that I have here. And let me hide this ground mesh that I have here. So not only can we hide whole mesh objects, but we can also hide individual faces as well. And we're going to need to do that to get to the inside faces of this bottle. But before we can finish this process, we need to delete the curve that we used to revolve this mesh because the mesh is still attached to it. So select the curve in your outliner and delete it. And then we're going to switch to face mode. And I'm going to select this bottom polygon here. I'm going to hold down Shift and double click to select that whole loop of polygons. And then we're going to grow the selection by using Shift greater than. I'm going to grow the selection up further than I want the liquid in the bottle to be. And then I'm going to hit Control-H to hide those polygons. And then we're going to do the same thing again and grow the selection up to the level where we want the liquid to be. And then we're going to duplicate these polygons to make the liquid mesh. We're going to hold down Shift, right-click, and select Duplicate Face. I'm going to give it a little offset here. And confirm the duplication by selecting the Select tool. And when we're done, if we leave those faces selected, you'll see that we have a mesh that we can use for the liquid. Now let's hit Control-Z if you moved it to put it back in place. And then we're going to hide everything but the liquid here. So let's hit Display, Hide Unselected Objects. And there is our liquid mesh. And we need to reverse these faces by holding down Shift, Face Normals, Reverse Normals. And then we're going to do the same thing we did with the wine liquid. I'm going to switch to Edge Mode. Double click that top edge, scale in just a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and then hold down Shift and scale in all the way. Shift right click, merge edges to center. And then let's turn off smoothing. And switch to edge mode and use these edges to create our meniscus. I'll switch to the move tool, move that one down a little bit, Control double click, and there we have our little meniscus. Then we're going to turn on smoothing mode and use the multi-cut tool to create a couple of control loops at the top to control that corner edge there. And there we have our liquid mesh. And then let's switch to object mode. Sometimes when you do this, after you've duplicated the faces, you get a group over here and there are two separate objects. But sometimes this doesn't happen. So in my case, that did not happen. So these faces are still attached to the bottle. They're one object. So before we finish this, we want to detach these faces from the parent bottle mesh. So if you're not already in face mode, switch to face mode and select the entire liquid mesh you created. And go to Mesh and select Separate. And that creates that group. And now you have the liquid as a separate mesh. So double click it in your outliner and rename it liquid. And then we can go and show all. And now that we have our liquid, when we come back in the next video, we're going to put materials on this and create a really nice bottle of interesting liquid. And I'll see you then.